Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Create Brevity. I'm your host, E-Director, and I want to welcome you guys, to our sort of basic series. We've gone through basics of conscious manifesting, we've talked about beliefs versus techniques, and now we're going to start talking about resistance. This is a very sort of hot topic with clients and with people who are just starting out. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of try to define resistance for you, and we're going to talk about why so many people recommend releasing a resistance as a part of your manifesting process. And then I'm going to kind of give you an example of resistance in my life and different ways that I've released it. So hopefully you can listen to this and it can help get you started down the right path, or hopefully you can listen to this and maybe get some ideas, if you've had some issues releasing resistance before, or maybe all this is just supplemental stuff and you just love the sound of my voice, in which case I appreciate you very much. I appreciate all of you guys, everyone who's listening. So thank you for coming, and let's get to it. So let's define resistance. Resistance is probably, for most people, one of two things. It's either some sort of behavior or some way that they are basically taking focus away from what they want to manifest, and they're focusing instead on the things they don't want, or they're focusing on how to manifest versus actually kind of allowing the manifestation to have happened to them. And that's kind of a way that some people get resistance. Another form of resistance is just the actual resistance that you'll face in your everyday reality, A lot of people get circumstances or obstacles in their way, and that is a form of resistance as well. So those are the two sort of most basic forms. And a lot of coaches, as just part of their standard manifesting process, will ask that you focus on the things that you want, right? And then that you will release resistance towards it. Now, I say most because manifesting, as I mentioned in a podcast, the first podcast really, is very natural. And it's something that we all do anyway. So manifesting is something that really we all are great at. We're all sort of perfect at. And so do you have to sit there and really release resistance in order to get the thing that you want? No, actually, you can always get the things that you want, no matter what happens to you, actually. That's a belief that I have. However, if you release resistance, getting there might not be as painful, And it can actually be quite enjoyable. So I believe that releasing resistance is just better for you overall, because at the end of the day, we're consciously manifesting. Yes, so we can have specific goals met and specific actions and specific people and things, but we're also doing it just to enrich our lives and to be happier. And if the process, even if the end goal is worth it, if the process is extremely painful, and if the process is something that requires so much of yourself, then it can be extremely taxing on your mental health and on your well-being. So that's why most coaches actually recommend that you release resistance. However, if you find someone who's been manifesting for a while, or a coach that says that you don't have to release it, then yes, I believe that they're technically correct. I do. However, we're always trying to give you sort of the best options here at Create Brevity. So the best way, the simple way, the pain-free way would be to figure out a way to release resistance so that you can actually enjoy the process and you can be yourself as you're manifesting. So, how do we go about releasing resistance? I touched on this in the first podcast, a little bit in the second, but I'll kind of go over it again. You basically have to find a way, okay, to focus more on the thing that you want, okay, than on all of the things that are in the way, okay, than all of the things that aren't working out for you, okay, and all of the ways that it can mess up. And how you want to focus, there's different techniques, right? You can affirm until you really get a strong belief system going, okay? You can script, you can write things down until, it really starts to take hold into your subconscious, okay? You can visualize it into being, okay? You can pray, and prayer is a really, really great way of doing it, if that's something that you're inclined to do. Prayer is just affirmations, right? Affirmations towards God. It's just declarations, okay? So that's also something that people like to do, okay? But you're gonna have to find some type of way to sort of release that fear and the anxiety, okay? Or release your immediate desire to react to something, bad that's happening right in front of your face. And that is going to be, that is essentially how you do it, okay? Like I said, there's different techniques. One thing that I like to do, and I talked about it in the second podcast, is that I like to actually strengthen my belief in the process and in myself. And how I like to do that is by working on different beliefs I have about me. Once I have a good, strong self-concept into place, it's easier to ignore some of the things that are happening in your reality. It's easier not to get caught up in them or triggered by them, okay? Because you already have a good foundation of beliefs about manifesting, about beliefs about yourself, and it can sort of calm you and sort of ease you in the moments where you really get that ping, right? And it's kind of like, oh, what if this doesn't happen? What if this doesn't work out? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? And you sort of feel yourself spinning, right? When you feel yourself going into that anxiety, that's resistance, right? You're reacting to different things that are happening in your 3D, okay? And that's what we want to release. Like I said earlier, you don't have to release that. You can have all of those thoughts, you can have all of that anxiety, and you can still get what you want. However, who wants to live in a state of 24/7 anxiety and fear and worry? I don't think anyone wants that. So that's what we're going to do today, essentially. And that's basically what we're going to work on. And I wanted to touch a little bit, this was a client question, on not only how, but really the why. And I touched on it a bit when I said you want to be happier. But the way that I feel about resistance and self-concept is, to me, whenever I visualize my anxiety and my fears and anything that may come up whenever I am scared, really, and I'm just not okay with my manifestation or with how I'm feeling about my manifestation, I genuinely visualize rocks. I feel like I'm just sort of tied down by something's weighing me down. And sometimes the things that can weigh you down are little pebbles, small things, okay? And they can be easy to let go of. But then sometimes, you're really tied down by like big boulders, big sort of millstones, if you guys have ever seen those. And they really weigh you down. And unfortunately, when you're tied to so much heavy stuff, it's really hard to focus on the things you want because you're dealing with so much that you don't. And because, a lot of people like to say, what resists persists. And basically, what they mean by that is if you ignore the fact that you have all these rocks attached to you, that you might be drowning, right? Then the drowning is going to be the priority number one always, right? That's the thing that's going to persist in your reality. And until you take care of that, right, nothing else is going to be taken care of. So, the reason why I bring that up is one good way that I like to explain to people, and hopefully easy way for people to visualize, is think of releasing resistance as letting go of those rocks, right? And what happens when you release all of those rocks at the same time? You have a lot of freedom and space, right? You have freedom and space all around you to where you could really explore who you are. People like to discuss and they like to talk about what self-love really is. And I believe that self-love is having the space to take care of yourself. It's having the mental bandwidth to do that. So when you let go of all those rocks, suddenly, you will find yourself being in a position where you can focus on the things that you actually want for yourself. You can find yourself taking care of yourself. You'll find the time, you'll find the energy, you'll find the emotional strength to be able to do that, right? And that's the most important thing when it really comes to manifesting, is the space. Because manifesting is allowing things to happen, right? It's faith. So having the faith and having the space to allow things to enter your life, means having faith and having the strength to let go. So anytime you want to visualize just releasing rocks, or letting go of the rocks, taking flight, right? Swimming away, I personally love it. I love visualizing that when I need to. I love just kind of relaxing into that feeling that, you know what? Yeah, it might not look the best right now. Yes, I'm scared, because it's always okay to acknowledge how you feel. But then it's also okay to go, it might not be what I think it is, It might not be how I wanted it, I might even be nervous about whether or not I'll get it. But I do know that whatever happens, I can handle it, I know that whatever happens, it's leading me in the right direction. Now, these are the kind of sort of beliefs that you can have about the process, but also about yourself. Because you're saying, I believe, right? I have faith in myself that I can handle these circumstances, that I can handle this resistance, And that's why I'm going to let go of it. I'm not going to let it persist, We're moving forward, right? Not by ignoring it, Not by not looking at it in the eye, but by actually taking the time to understand it, understand why we're feeling it, and then moving on. Now, this takes some practice, like everything does, But once you really get to the point, right, where you have had practiced this, it'll get easier and easier, truly. Now, that doesn't mean you'll never encounter any sort of bad circumstance, or I'm never going to have any doubts or anxiety or fear. That's not true, right? Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, we live in a world of good and bad, and you're always going to be able to find things that maybe might not be the way you want them to be, They might not be going the way that you want, That's unfortunate, but, releasing resistance and having faith in yourself, trusting the process, right? Having good self-concept means looking at those unlovely things, at those sort of strange or bewildering things that are happening, and just going, I can handle it, right? I know this is leading me where I need it to be. And that's kind of why it's good to release resistance, It'll help you get the things you want, yes, but also will give you so much inner peace as you move forward with conscious manifesting. Because believe me, okay, it will not always be easy. You will want to react. I recently faced a lot of resistance personally, because don't let any sort of manifesting coach or life coach fool you. You know, coaches are just people. They're human beings. They're also experiencing, good and bad things. And it can be difficult for them as well at times. They may face a lot of resistance on their own conscious manifesting journeys. But what I can tell you is that, recently I felt probably the most resistant I've ever felt towards a manifestation. I was trying to manifest some paperwork. I was basically working on obtaining or trying to get rid of or settling paperwork with the government, and I was going through one sort of bureaucratic hoop after another. People were telling me different things. People were telling me sort of different versions of the law, and I felt like someone was sort of stringing me up on a rack. Someone was sort of I was like a dish that was waiting to be, served up, carved up. And I felt hits and to my confidence and to my ego, I didn't understand why I wasn't able to get my sort of swagger back, right? Get my confidence back. And I realized that somewhere throughout this process, I had sort of lost faith and I had lost some belief that this process was going to go out smoothly. In fact, somewhere along the way, I sort of frightened myself, because I started buying into the circumstances and I started buying into what people were telling me was the truth for myself, rather than what I know to be possible, right, inside of me, in my subconsciousness and in my heart and in my imagination, right? And once I realized that and I faced the fact that I was extremely resistant, right, and I was feeling that resistance day in and day out, left and right, I was able to see that it was okay, that the things that I had been dreading mostly had already occurred, right? But I wasn't made out of glass. I haven't given up, and I'm not going to. And whatever circumstances may come, I'll deal with it and I'll move on. And when I started thinking of it that way, it gave me peace of mind, and it gave me the freedom to work on my beliefs, to love myself. I suddenly had space, that emotional bandwidth, that mental bandwidth, to be able to focus on what I wanted instead of letting everything else that was happening sort of crowd that out, right? I relaxed into what I wanted for myself rather than listen to everyone else. And that's really the name of the game when it comes to releasing resistance. And so hopefully, whatever you guys are dealing with, okay, whatever techniques you want to use, and it's okay to use one, okay, and if you mess up on it, if it's not working for you, okay, to try something else, okay? It's okay to try them all, okay? It's okay to try only one or two, whatever you think will help, okay? But you will reach a point, hopefully, unless you're just kind of giving up on the manifestation altogether. But if you're sticking with it, where you will find yourself almost melting into, yourself, as you just sort of let go of rock after pebble, after boulder, after millstone, and you just find yourself breathing easier and just going, I laid it all out there. It's all out there. okay? And I'm still here. I'm still standing. It was terrible. I dealt with it. I'm still standing. I'm still here. And that's really when you can get to the space and you can really understand how strong you are and how capable you are. And then you start to build your self-concept and you start to build those beliefs and start using different techniques to focus. Again, focus on the things you want and, kind of shut out all the circumstances and everything that's happening, the unlovely things that are happening in your reality, so to speak. And after that, right, you're well on your way to being able to achieve everything that you want, everything that you have ever really desired but maybe thought you couldn't have, right? All the things you've been focusing on, okay? And hopefully all those specific things that you've been focusing on will slowly start to manifest, or quickly, depending how far along you are, start to manifest in your life. So, guys, I hope this really helped. Like I said, thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate you guys, okay? We're going to hopefully continue on with the basics. But really, this podcast is about manifesting. So once we're done with this basic series, we'll probably transition into things that are a bit more specific, okay? But as always, if you guys have any questions or if you guys just have any comments, feel free to go to our website, www.createbrevity.com. That's CRE8brevity.com, the number 8, brevity.com. And you'll be able to hopefully reach us, and because we love getting emails, okay? And if you need any kind of private help or personal coaching, please feel free to also book on the site as well. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. And once again, we appreciate you and we love you. Love and light.